Welcome back to the show. I'm so excited to be here. I think I say that every time. I'm so excited. Well, I'm excited every time, just so you all know. And the video responses were great. All of them were so fun to go through. Short, sweet, great questions. The one that I went with is Ariel. Take it away, Ariel.
Hey katilette, my name is Ariel and I just have a couple of questions for you. My first question is, what did you go to college for and major in?
I actually majored in nutrition. My original plan was to be a dietitian, and then I was like, oh, maybe I don't want to do that. Maybe I want to work more like in education in the schools, teaching health, and so I was kind of generally going into the health and fitness world and going to nutrition classes. I didn't finish college, however. I dropped out when I got pregnant and was like, oh, I can't do it. I was married first, then I got pregnant. Then we were like, oh, maybe I'll just wait and go back to school later. And I think for me, it was the right decision because I wanted to be a mom more than I wanted to have a career. So that was the best decision for me. However, I will eventually probably take some more nutrition classes because that's what really interests me. I love health and fitness and actually became a fitness instructor after I had my first baby, after I had Centard, and sort of got into that world without having a degree.
My second question is, did college cause the majority of your and Shay's debt? Is that what made you guys go into debt, or was that mainly just credit cards?
Thank you so much, Ariel. That's a great question. Now, when I first started college, I was actually paying for it by myself. I had worked as a waitress the whole previous summer, and I'd been saving up for a long time so that I could be able to pay for my own college, because I really didn't think that going into debt was a great idea. So I was like, okay, I'm going to pay for all my own college. But as I got further and further along, it got harder and harder. I started taking more classes. So then I started utilizing the student loans, which usually student loans are low interest. I thought, oh, that's okay. We don't have to start paying off until we're out of college. And so it seemed like a really good option at the time. I've totally flip-flopped my stance on that, however, but at the time, Shay and I, after we got married, was like, okay, we need some more money, we're busy, we're both taking a ton of credits, there's not a possible way that we can make all this money and not borrow it. So we borrowed money for school, but unfortunately we weren't the smartest. We also got credit cards that we used for whatever, furniture, random stuff we didn't need. I mean, some of it we used for stuff we needed, but it's just not a good idea because then you gotta pay it back. So Shay and I believe do not go into debt, just because for us, it really dug a huge pit for us, and it took us a long time to get out of, because it started with student loans, credit cards, then it was like, we'll get some furniture, 90 days same as cash. So we got into all this debt that we couldn't pay, and it was scary. And that's why debt is just like, if you can't control it, it just gets out of control.
And my final and third question is, did you go to college with the intention of paying off your debt afterwards, or were you working towards paying it off while you were in college?
As far as getting out of debt, now if you guys are familiar with the Shaytard show and my husband and I, obviously, we are huge believers in getting out of debt. And the reason that is because we got so far into debt that it crushed us. We had a desk that all of our bills were just piled on. And I remember we would get the mail, we'd look at the bill and go, can't pay it, throw it on the desk. Like, what can you do? It's scary. And I know that a lot of people are going through this. What saved us is we actually heard of a guy named Dave Ramsey, which many of you may be familiar with if you watch the Shaytards. He saved us. His principles saved us. And he says, you cut your credit cards up, you stop getting into debt, because how can you get out of a hole if you're still digging it? So stop borrowing money, no more borrowing. That's it. And sometimes it can be scary if you're living off of a credit card, but you have to just trust that there's no way you can stop living that way unless you get rid of the shovel. We started on the smallest amount of debt first and doing our best to pay that off. Just paying as much as we could on it to get out of that. And then taking that amount and pushing it over to the next one. So the next largest amount of debt, you start taking what you're paying on this amount and then paying it on this amount, as well as your minimum payments. You have to keep your minimum payments up. Oh, so difficult. If not, you just keep paying. And then you take that chunk, once this is paid off, then you take that chunk to the next one and just start paying it off. Anyways, that's called the debt snowball. So that's what we started doing. And I think the biggest thing was we stopped borrowing. And so that helped a ton. Anyways, huge topic. I'm rambling now. But if you would like to know more about getting out of debt, go check Dave Ramsey out. He's amazing and his principles are true. I totally believe in him. Saved us. My goal last week was to eat healthy and not go out to eat. I don't want to talk about it. Okay, so I didn't do that great. I really didn't do that great. I tried and I thought about it and I was like, oh, I shouldn't get Taco Bell for lunch, but I did. And we had pizza once. But I did buy some healthy snacks, so I'm a little bit redeemed, right? No, I didn't do that well. So for next week, I'm gonna try again. And if you guys have any suggestions or things that you do to eat healthy, that'd be great to hear about how you're doing and any way that you can help me do it as well. Also, next week will be Thanksgiving, so I'm gonna have a special guest. And it's gonna be fun and exciting, and we're gonna have lots to chat about. So keep leaving video responses, and I will see you guys shortly. Bye-bye.